Hey, Ron.
Hey, David. Hey, Kate. Great to see you.
And
And
you,
you.
and you.
Wish I was there. Hi, One Young World. How's everybody doing? That's great. I'm sorry I'm not there. This would have been my seventh One Young World in person, but events have transpired to prevent me from being there in person. But through technology and through bouncing off the satellites in space, I can be with you, and together we can take a journey to space and back. And let's do that now, will you? And you know, as Kate and David said, I've had the opportunity to be in space. I've had the opportunity to have some amazing experiences in my life that have really provided a very unique perspective. I've flown in space twice. I've lived for weeks on the bottom of the ocean, and these experiences have just given me this tremendous appreciation for the gift that we've been given, the gift of our Earth. And just to set the stage, on my first mission back in 2008, it was a construction mission on board the International Space Station. I remember the first day in space, the most unbelievable, remarkable moment was when I got the opportunity to look out the window for the first time. When my tasks were over, I could unstrap and float over to a window and just take a look at our beautiful planet. It was just absolutely breathtaking. And I remember the first thing that hit me was just how unbelievably thin the atmosphere appeared. And in that moment, I was hit with this sobering realization that this paper thin layer is the only thing protecting every living thing on the planet from the harshness of space. But in spite of this fragility, I couldn't help but fall in love with the beauty of our planet. It's a constant dance of colors and light and motion. And although this was an incredibly moving visual experience, it was much more than just the visual experience. What I experienced in space was a profound sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the opportunity to see the planet from that perspective, and gratitude for the planet that we've all been given. And in some way that I can't fully, even to this day, explain, being physically detached from the Earth made me feel deeply interconnected with everyone on it. Now, this came even more real in 2011 on my second mission to space, where I spent half of 2011 living and working on board the International Space Station after launching from Kazakhstan on a Russian spacecraft with two Russian military officers for a 6-month mission. And during that 6 months in space, I got into a routine where I would almost say goodnight to the Earth. When my day was over, my tasks were over, I went over to the cupola, or I flew over to the cupola, which is this windowed observatory on the bottom of the space station. I just would gaze at the Earth for a little while before it was time to go to sleep. And as I would take in this beautiful scene, I would routinely be hit in the gut with the sobering contradiction between the beauty of our planet on one hand and the unfortunate realities of life on our beautiful planet on the other hand. We all know all the problems that exist on our planet. Those don't have clean water to drink, enough food to eat, the poverty, the conflict, the strife that exists on our planet. And as I would take in the scene, I would think about what will the next 50 years look like? How far will we progress and overcome the challenges facing our planet? Now, I launched into space with a belief that right now, we already have all the technology, all the resources necessary to solve many, if not all, the problems facing our planet. I spent a good deal of my time earth gazing, pondering the question, if this is true, why do they still remain? And I think the seeds to the answer to that question were planted 3 years earlier on my first space flight. On the third spacewalk of that space flight, my feet were clamped to the end of the space station's robotic arm. And with me attached to the arm, it was flown through a maneuver that we called the windshield wiper. And this took me across a large arc across the top of the space station and back. And at the top of this arc, I was 100 feet above the space station, looking down at this enormous, incredible accomplishment of humanity against the backdrop of our indescribably beautiful planet, 240 miles below. It was just breathtaking. But more compelling than the beauty of that scene was the incredible human accomplishment that the space station represented. You have to realize that 15 nations, some of these nations weren't always the best of friends. Some were on opposite sides of the Cold War, opposite sides of the space race. Some fought wars against each other. But somehow they found a way to set aside their differences and do this amazing thing in space. And as I hovered there above the space station, I thought to myself, what would the world look like if we had that same level of cooperation, that same level of collaboration down here on the Earth's surface? How many fewer problems would we all face? And I think the path to get to a greater level of collaboration is to really think about our home. And I remember when it was time to return to Earth after our 6-month mission, my 2 Russian crewmates got into our spacecraft. We undocked. We did a couple of laps around the planet. We had this fiery, violent ride through the atmosphere at 5 miles a second. Parachutes opened. We got thrown all over the place. Eventually, we smashed into the ground. We bounced. We rolled. We flipped over. And now the capsule was on its side. And now my window was pointed down at the ground. And out of my window, I saw a rock, a flower, and a blade of grass. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm home. And what was really interesting about that thought is I was home, but I was in Kazakhstan. And so to me at that moment, my home wasn't just Houston, Texas, where at the time I lived with my family. My home was Earth. And our definition of that word home has profound implications for how we treat each other, how we treat our planet, how we problem solve. And expanding and broadening our definition of the word home does not come with it a requirement to forget where we came from, our cultural, our national, our political, our religious identities. It just simply means seeing those things in the context of the bigger picture. Now, as Kate said, our definition of that word home was forever changed on December 24th, 1968, by a photograph that was taken by the crew of Apollo 8, a photograph that changed the course of human history. And as Apollo 8 came up from behind the far side of the moon, and they saw the Earth emerging from behind the lunar horizon, I wonder if they realized the significance of that moment. They just became the first humans in history to see the whole planet hanging in the blackness of space and to capture that for the rest of us. The famous photograph known as Earthrise is probably the most influential photograph ever taken. The image revolutionized how we see the world, how we see ourselves, with its simple message that we are one people traveling on one planet towards one shared future. Earthrise represents the true reality of the world that we live in, not the two-dimensional map of multicolored nation states hanging in classrooms around the world. In order for humanity to progress and to prosper, we must deal with the very real problems and challenges facing us in the context of the real world. We need to design and build a future that is based upon the image of Earthrise. The image of Earthrise embodies 3 key pillars: interdependence, profound collaboration, and long-term thinking, all wrapped in the blanket of empathy and compassion. The principles of Earthrise will lead to a positive, restorative future, a future where 10 billion humans can live within the Earth's planetary limits in peace and in harmony, a future that we would all want to be a part of. So what's the path forward? The first step to carving out a path is picking a destination. So right now, we are presently in the 50th anniversary year of Earthrise. What will the world look like on the 100th anniversary? What will the world look like after we complete a 100-year journey through space? So let's set our sights on a target. Let's set our sights on a world in 2068, the 100 years after Earthrise. Now, we invite you to help create a worldwide movement inspiring a positive vision of the future where our planet is a bold and thriving home for all. Now, motivation is usually sparked through either fear or awe and wonder. Starting from a foundation of fear divides us and closes the mind, cutting us off from others whom we share challenges and problems, and it separates us from the solutions that they bring. But starting from a foundation of awe and wonder opens up the mind to new ideas and solutions and encourages collaboration with others. So an example of one of these collaborations is a collaboration between One Young World and something called Constellation. A little while back, I joined with some of my space exploring friends and a group of creatives to create Constellation. And we did this in order to continue the work of sharing our experience, inspiring awe and wonder in others, and connecting people from all over the world, from different nations, cultures, and religions, so that our future and the future of our planet can be a manifestation of the beauty and the beautiful reality that we have all seen and experienced from space. As is abundantly clear from my 6 times at One Young World, young people like you all here today have the power to change the world. It is you whose lives and your work will make the change that our civilization and planet so desperately needs. For Constellation, we aim to inspire and connect young people from all around the world with this message from space. And our shared movement, #2068, is an invitation to collectively reimagine our future. We aim to inspire audiences by sharing personal stories of experiencing our home planet from the vantage point of space. We will immerse audiences in the awe and wonder of seeing Earth from space, encouraging them to experience their own Earthrise moment. And finally, we will connect audiences through our Constellation community, partnerships, and initiatives, providing an opportunity to take personal action towards envisioning and building our shared future. Through all of this, our mission is clear. We need to reimagine ourselves and our future in light of the unity that one can see from space. 2068 is a new beginning, a new epoch to mark an important shift in the ongoing story of humanity. It's an opportunity for our species to reimagine the foundational building blocks of our civilization. It's our grand shared vision. In the coming months, we will be putting the finishing touches on the first glimpse of #2068, including a new website at constellation.earth, and we want to begin to build a community, and this can't be done without all of you. Apollo 8's Earthrise not only represents the start of a new perspective, it marks a new beginning. We like to think of it as the start of our awareness that we are all space travelers. In December, on the actual 50th anniversary of the launch of Apollo 8 from the same spot that Apollo 8 launched from, we will launch phase 1 of the #2068 movement. We invite you to become an integral part of what we are building. One Young World, you can be the first spark of this moment and the first spark of this movement. Please connect with us through our website and become the first crewmates for #2068. And we will begin with content that you could share with your family, friends, and communities. And using the idea of a positive, visionary, restorative future in the year 2068, the crew members of the movement can ask politicians and corporations and NGOs, what are you doing for 2068? How does your product or law or how does this effort affect 2068? It will be a tool of accountability for long-term thinking, interdependence, and profound collaboration. You are the leaders in your own communities. You are bringing the change and positive action to our shared Earth. It starts with you. Now, 2068 is an invitation to reinvigorate the narrative of a trajectory adjustment for our civilization and our home planet. So please go sign up at constellation.earth/OYW. And please do it as soon as you can. Follow us on Instagram at constellation.earth. And once you're signed up in December, you will receive further information on how to become a crewmate of Constellation. As Carl Sagan once said, the Earth is where we make our stand. So I want to thank you all for what you're doing and what you will do to help make our planet and our world as beautiful as the Earth looks from space. So please join us in helping to create this vision and this future together. And I wish you all the best at One Young World for the rest of the day and for the closing ceremony. And I hope to see you all next year in London. So thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Ron, thank you so much. We'll see you in London. Love to you and Carmel and the family.
Thank you. And I just want you to know that I don't just.
You got your suit on.
Yeah, I know, but I don't always hang around in my house with my flight
You
jacket on
don't?
my mask. No, I did that for you guys, just as you know.
But Ron, what time is it with you? What time is it?
Oh, it's a little bit after 11 p.m. in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you so much.
All the best.